You know what? Bob Marley said it best. He said, don't know your past, you don't know your future. And it's so true. You know, knowledge of self becomes an integral part of us raising children correctly. I see you, Carl. I got to go to Stephen Bardo. Stephen, you wrote a book, man, How to Make the League Without Picking Up the Rock. And when it comes to responsibility and knowledge of self, how does your book relate to this topic?
The title, How to Make the League Without Picking Up the Rock, it's a play on words. When we were in college, Howard Griffith, Mo Gardner, the football players, the league was NFL. For us on the flying line, it was the NBA. For the track athletes who got to the Olympics, it was the Olympics. And what we try to do is, you know, in the book is to show young people, particularly teenagers, that you can make the league. You can be Garrard McClendon. You can be something in another field, because it's so difficult to get to the professional level. It's so difficult to be a successful rap artist. It's very difficult to do those things, but there are a plethora, a huge amount of career choices that our young men aren't exposed to. I think you said it earlier, it's the exposure, and you know, part of education is travel. A lot of these kids haven't been off the South Side.
Not at all.
And so if they don't get out of their neighborhoods and they look at television and they listen to music, well, they have a very small window to look at and to measure themselves by.
This is interesting. So part of some young people being misguided is the lack of exposure. This is interesting, and I think that the caller was relating that in terms of adults being responsible enough to expose children and being man and woman enough to discipline children. Hold tight, Enoch. Carl, you had a comment.
Well, I just want to go back to the point that I had made earlier that, I mean, I just think it is absolute time that we step our game up and stop trying to say, well, here is the reason why. I think we know the reason why. We've traveled down this road so long before. Now it's time to shut up on the reason why and step up on how are we as collectively, men, women of our community, going to change our own behavior so that we can give more to the young people in the streets. We cannot just kind of walk through this maze like, because it's not my child in a sense, or I'm not involved in that stuff over there, and we just kind of stay away from it, but yet we point a finger from a driving car, a moving vehicle. We have to stop that car, and we have to change our environment. Enoch is doing that. My brother Stephen is doing that in all of our endeavors, but we have to have all of us doing that collectively. If you're not doing that, don't call in and complain. Don't write me and complain on my news service. Don't do any of that unless you can tell me, well, here's what I'm doing in my community to change it.
And you know what?
All points on deck. I see you, Enoch.
We need to hire some drive-by grandmothers. We need to hire some grandmothers and jump out the car. Because I'm just keeping it real. Y'all had that, right? Y'all get that. Y'all get that backside tap.
Come on out.
And I know we can't quite do that today because it's different things. But boy, it would be nice to see that.
It's too bad that we can't do that today. Seriously, man.
Says who?
Yeah. Go.
What you mean?
Talk to me, Enoch. Talk to me.
You must don't know. It's a way around everything.
People feel it.
People feel the ride, spoil the child.
Well, that's true now.
If my son got to get tapped up, excuse me, son, I need to see you in aisle 5.
No, I'm saying your son.
Yeah, my son.
But we used to be able to touch everybody else's children.
We're around that too.
Community. Community. Let me go to the phones, gentlemen. I got Charles on the line. Charles, you're on off 63rd. Charles, talk to me. What's on your mind this evening? Hi, Charles.
Yeah, how you doing?
Pretty good.
Hey, I turned this program on by mistake. And I want to say that everybody that's talking there, you all have the right idea. Now you just got to put it all together. All right?
Yeah.
But I think the main problem with everything, not just black children, white children, everything, is you're not allowed to discipline your kid. You got to find a way where they got to separate discipline from abuse.
Wow.
And I tell you, I went to an all-black high school. I went to Chicago Vocational. I was a freshman during the King riots. And when I graduated, there was 890 people in the graduating class and 13 whites. And all these people came out with educations. Everybody tried. And I don't know what stopped it. But the gentlemen that are up there talking, You're on the right track, and just make it work now.
Hey, Charles, thanks for the call. We appreciate the compliment, and thanks for watching Off 63rd here on WYCC. Huge comment. Enoch, talk to me, man.
Look, what he just said reminded me of a study that was done. In the 1950s, they were looking at the major influences of young people. In the 50s, the #1 influence of young people was home. #2 was church. Then you had school. But they did the same study in the 1980s, again, when cable TV and media began to accelerate with the technology advancements. #1 influence of young people was peers. #2 was television.
I'm not surprised.
So if you flip the script in that way, and it was in the 1980s, and with the advent of what? Everything from cable TV to the internet to social media.
The brick phone.
Yeah, it went from the brick phone to the cell phone with a camera.
Right.
You know, when you begin to see this, well, we need to have exposure to truth and habits that show you what it means to be a parent. Because I've been to schools 7:30 in the morning doing work in front of an elementary school, and mama is listening to Gucci Mane. When the door opens, you smell blunt smoke coming, and there's a first and second grader in the back seat.
Right.
So when you say, well, we want the children to be better, I'm sorry, the apple don't fall too far from the tree. So if you don't find a way to circumvent what you can, because we don't go home with them, so they have to experience the 8 to 12 hours, however many hours of being at home in that environment. Well, when we get them in the after-school program or the in-school or the basketball camp or whatever we're doing on the weekend, when we get them, we have to do as much as we can to make them critical thinkers, but they're going to have to understand that mama or daddy or cousin may not be doing the right thing, but you have to make the right choice.
You know what? Morals are not windows, morals are mirrors, and sometimes we want to look at someone else and say you're doing the wrong thing, when the reality is you have to look in the mirror and say, wait a minute,
First,
what am I doing? Before I go back to phones, I want to read a comment here from the great writer Hakeem Matabuti, who owns Third World Press. In the book Black Men, Obsolete, Single, and Dangerous, he says these black men, sons of Africa, are kneeless, voice broken, homeless, forgotten, and terrorized into becoming beggars, thieves, or ultra dependents on a system that considers them less than human and treats them with less dignity and respect than dogs. I am among these men. Hold your horses, gentlemen. Let me go to Michelle on the phones. Michelle, you're on Off 63rd. Michelle, talk to me. What's on your mind this evening?
How you doing? I just want to piggyback off of what Carl said.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. These fathers or these daddies, they need to be more consistent. You know, you can't be like a father or daddy on Monday and then Thursday you're not around.
Hey,
you
Michelle.
know what I'm saying? It's like if we see these guys hanging out on street corners, jump out your car. You know, interact with them, talk to them. We trying to save lives out here because, like Carl said, all of these kids are our kids.
True.
Michelle, thank you so much for the call. She's right. We as men, we do have to step up. And I had two more questions here. Did Dr. Martin Luther King, did he die in vain? I want you guys to think about this now. Did he die in vain? And check this one out. Are we just inherently trifling? Or is trifling a Pavlovian response that black men have? Woo! That needs to be a 2-hour show, doesn't it? Carl, talk to me, man.
Well, of course not. Dr. King's journey and his death was not in vain, because you look at us.
Okay.
Look at these brothers right here. And that shows that his journey was not in vain. So that's the first question, the answer to it. Second of all, I want to go again on believing that the bulk of our young people and are good people trying to do the best they can, going to and from with what they have. And a prime example is an urban prep. And there are lots of urban preps around Chicago, around the country, who are graduating young brothers who are on point. So let's not forget that, and let's not denounce them for the hard work that they've done and the support system who provided for them to do that. So I'm cool with that. So,
Okay, so let me ask you this just quickly. Stephen Bartle, Dr. Martin Luther King did not die in vain?
No, of course not.
What about you, Enoch Muhammad?
No, not at all.
Okay, let me just go quickly to something that we want to show our viewers. We can curse the darkness or we can light a candle, and we would be remiss if we didn't add a shade of optimism to this show. Our Student View segment, produced by Level and Chris, takes a peek at Anthony Rochelle Jr. and the work he's doing in Bronzeville. Take a look.
think Bronzeville poised for a comeback. I read up on the history of the area. I know that the roots are deep with jazz, live blues, a lot of different things, good eating. And when I came around, I looked at the area, investigated, and there was really nothing here at the time. And I felt coming back to the area would be great. It would be a start of something big. We have a lot of different projects going on, and I just wanted to be one of the first to be a part of the movement. Not only being a spot where people can come in and listen to live jazz if it's blues, but I also want to be a part of the community, being maybe even a beacon of light, community service driven. I want to get out in the community and show them opportunities for our youngsters to come out and do something different. So I want to highlight different areas of powerful black men in the community that start their own business and actually do something positive and not just get caught up in the streets. So not only do we want to teach them about jazz and music, we want to teach them about culinary arts and the venture that they can have in that industry. We offer a Creole cuisine. Creole food is something that's from Southwest Louisiana. It's something that people thrive for, want, down south cooking, and something I decided to bring up here.
We thank the McCormick and Theo Foundations for Student Views. Gentlemen, let's go to some final thoughts. What can we do to flip the script? I need to know from each of you gentlemen in just a few words here, what are you doing to mentor and volunteer in your inner circle? Stephen Bardo first.
I have the fortunate, I guess, I'm ordered to go out and speak to young people around the country. And because of the exposure I get with ESPN nationally, being an ex-NBA player, having a father that's a college professor, all those things put me in a position that I have the responsibility to go out and spread the word.
It's good news, good news. Enoch Muhammad, Hip Hop Detoxx, quickly.
Quickly, Hip Hop Detoxx, we're traveling all over the country as well. We're on a tour called Check Up From the Neck Up, which is based here in Chicago, which deals with not only tobacco prevention and healthy lifestyle choices, but we're also dealing with the violence prevention issues at the root. The thing that we want to do is make sure that Garrard McClendon and Stephen Bardo and my brother here, Carl Rest, can have their own Hip Hop Detoxx. So what we're doing is putting together the social franchise package. So just like you have a Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts and those things, that's what we want to do.
We're going to talk about it after the show. And Carl West, quickly, man, mentoring, volunteering.
I got the Truth for Literacy after school program around Chicago. I got Next Generation Leadership Council, co-founded with Mays Jackson. We are building the next generation of leaders, and that's what we do. That's our responsibility.
Man, I appreciate you gentlemen being on Off 63rd tonight. You know, thank you for watching Off 63rd, and thanks to my guests, Enoch Muhammad, Carl West, and Stephen Bardo. You may call me after the show, 773-487-1352, or send me an email at gerard@off63rd.com. Thank you for watching. Hey, remember, victory, it's yours. Stay positive, keep your head up, and always be encouraged. Good night.